Welcome. I'm Grant, and this is BINBUSTER, where I watch a few budget bin movies for you. As you can see, I'm wearing my Halloween tuxedo t-shirt, which means it's time for my annual spooktacular. But what is a spooktacular? Oh, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to go through 11 horror movies. Going to watch, review them for you guys. See, this is something you guys should pick up, or something you guys should watch in this month, because it's Halloween. Without further ado, my first movie is an official selection of the Toronto After Dark Film Festival of 2018, as well as the 2018 Fantastic Fest. You can find it at your local dollar store. Remember, when counselors are being killed off at a summer camp, and you are stuck in the middle of it, you just might be the killer. Instead of contacting the cops, Sam, who is stuck in the middle of these killed counselors, calls his friend and slasher film expert Chuck to discuss his options. And as always, I'll give you my good, my bad, my thoughts, and the overall rating I will give this movie, starring Alyson Hannigan and Kranz, or Fran Kranz, whatever it's how it's pronounced. And this is You Just Might Be the Killer. This movie has a good grindhouse feel to it, meaning it's like that Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof or Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror that came out in early 2000s. It has that kind of feel where it's a kind of a B-movie vibe of a horror film. It has that, where at the beginning you just pauses and then flashes the title, and then pauses and flashes different things about it. Who it's produced by, flashes in the title of the amount of murders that are happening at this summer camp. So that's kind of fun there, and it's a clever horror comedy slasher film. Yes, it's a horror slasher comedy film. So it's all three guys mixed together, and it does it very cleverly, I shall say. Alyson Hannigan, or Chuck. Yes, her character's name's Chuck. I kind of get the Charlie Brown, Marcy calling Charlie Brown Chuck from her for some odd reason. She in here plays Randy from Scream. The reason I say this, Randy from Scream, we all know. He's obsessed with horror movies. He knows everything about every horror movie. That's the truth here about Chuck. She does that too. And it's good to see Alyson Hannigan come back into the horror roots, because after all, we know she pretty much got her start not only in My Stepmother's an Alien, but also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as well as American Pie movies. So it's good to see her come back in this and go through her Buffy routes again. Anything she's in, I will watch with her, because she's personable and very funny. The mask seems to be made out of bark. If you look closely here, ladies and gentlemen, look at that. It seems to be made out of bark of a tree, so it's form-fitting to a face, which I find it very clever that they went with something completely different for a mask instead of just going with the ghost face mask or a leather mask or kind of a Michael Myers mask or a hockey mask. They kind of went with a bark mask that has no straps to it. It just goes on the face, kind of like on the mask, and kind of form fits that way. That's kind of clever. When the main character, Sam, tries to do anything to destroy the mask, because at first he was found at the gravesite, which he knew about all the time because he tells a story about it later on in the film, and how the first counselor dies is how this one dies, as he goes back, because he remembers this ghost story he told about a haunted campsite of the haunted woodsman that used to be at that camp. And his family owns the camp, so he's told the story every year. So him and this one girl come up, they find the mask, she picks it up, and she goes, "I'm not going to put it on, you are," and shoves it right on his face. So Sam's out there committing these murders. Doesn't remember it at all, which is a great concept in this movie. He doesn't remember them at all. And then he goes on these killing sprees and killing everyone while this mask is there. And I say this because when he tries to burn the mask, his face heats up. When he tries to kick it, destroy it, he starts beating himself up. So it's that's kind of funny at the same time. And kind of clever too. The killer can't get inside the room because the door's locked. So he remembers, oh, I'm the head counselor, Sam. So I got his keys as they fall out of his pocket. So he does it one at a time. And the keys are not right coming in. So the girls trick him. Sam's in there without his mask on. They're on the phone with Chuck. He goes in, he kills him. He gets the mask on, breaks out, chases him down. Kills one. The other one's the final girl. We'll get to that in a moment, though. The twist at the end. I kind of like that twist at the end. I kind of saw it coming, but not the real closing scene. I did not see the real closing scene of this movie happening. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Might be a second one to this. That's all I'm saying. Don't even know if there's going to be, but it does set it up for one, or a continuation of the supposed cursed mask. So this movie does fall into some cliches, like Sam's family camp and haunted grave and mask. Those are cliches in almost a lot of horror movies. The guy doesn't know he's killing the counselors. Kind of on the phone the whole time, talking with someone who knows about horror movies that we've seen in Scream. We've seen the camp stuff in Sleepaway Camp. And I mean, the main love interest is this fierce black girl too, and she's kind of cliche in the aspect of she's fierce, nothing can happen to her. She wants to be the one to kill her, but then is told by Chuck, it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's pretty much the heart of the dog in the fight. So it's like, so she's no longer she's not the pure one that kills Sam at the end. It's someone else. The pure stuff are cliches in here too, that only that can destroy the killer. But the twist is that with that, you don't see it coming on how he dies. So, just saying, just putting it that way. Some of these characters, like this fierce black girl, Imani, I told you about, I didn't like her. Some of them, like this buff jock, he kind of mumbles through his scenes, and it's kind of hard at times to understand him. Like I said there, he mumbles through his scenes. It's kind of hard to understand him at times. It doesn't seem intentional. It just seems like the guy is a mumbler at times. Imani should be interesting. I don't find her interesting at all. I should have loved her. The only characters that have some dimension to them are Chuck and Sam. That's it. They're the only two that have some sort of dimension to them. They're not just one-dimensional characters. Oh, you're going to get killed off. Here you go. Especially Steve, the kayak king. That's a joke throughout the entire movie too, yeah. But anyways, if you're up for it, rip-roaring, laugh off your butt movie, this is not it. If you're looking for something that's very clever in its comedy and very clever in its horror aspects of it, then this movie's for you. I laughed at parts in this because they were so absurd and funny. I even went a way of saying, oh yeah, they made a villain that kind of is like all the other ones out there, but is kind of still different in its aspect. So just remember, you eat that popcorn, you take the last sip of soda, and the person next to you is all upset. Don't worry, you might just be a killer. Remember, you can find this at your local Dollar Tree. Thanks for watching Spooktacular. I'm Graydon. Leave a comment down below of what you thought about this movie, if you've seen it. If not, if you're going to pick it up after this review. Let me know down below. And as always, remember, you might be a killer. Make it a movie night and dive right in.